Welcome back to the Battery Podcast. I am Aidan,
And I'm Jack.
and we are getting you ready for the Cannons Week 3 matchup with the Philadelphia Waterdogs this weekend, 12:30 Saturday on ABC. This is the second game of the year for the Waterdogs after they lost their opener in Albany against the Archers and then had a bye week 2. The Cannons will be looking to officially have a winning record as they evened it up to 500 with a win over the Whipsnakes last week that you heard us recap on Monday. Um, should be a fantastic game, especially after the Cannons were I'd say thoroughly trounced by the Archers in the playoffs and then got their revenge with a win in the
Water
Champ Series
Dogs.
final. Whew. Yep. Cannons were eliminated from the playoffs by the Waterdogs and then got their revenge with a win over the Waterdogs in the championship series. Um, I'd say this will probably be the most physical, energetic, competitive, mean regular season game that we'll
Scrappy.
see. Yeah.
Yeah,
Except for perhaps 2 weeks from now when the teams meet again in Boston. Um, so excited for this. As soon as the calendar came out, as the schedule came out, I've been excited for this one. Um,
yeah. No, I'm with you. I think I grew up obviously Boston sports fan, and the first thing you always think of is Red Sox, Yankees. So for me, I always thought Boston, New York, and there obviously is always going to be Boston, New York.
yeah,
But then as you kind of grow up and learn more, you get more of that Boston, Philly. You had the
yeah,
old school Bruins, Flyers. You got the Celtics and the Sixers. You got the Pats and the Eagles.
oh yeah,
And no shade to the Atlas, but it's Albany, so it doesn't have that same New York feel as in New York City does. So
absolutely.
this Boston Philly that we got with the Cannons Water Dogs is definitely like that one where I'm just like, oh, I like just the sight of them. I'm like, oh, I don't like you simply because it has the word Philadelphia on your jersey.
Exactly. I think I may have said this in an earlier episode, but Philly was the team that I changed my opinion about the most once they announced cities for all the teams. Where like
Hmm.
I will say in the conversation, I was a big fan of Andy Copeland. I did like that kind of underdog mentality that they had of kind of that first year being the guys that people didn't want or didn't want as much. Um, but then yeah, once you put Philly on the jersey, I can't support it anymore. And I think I mean, we all knew that the Cannons were going to be the Boston Cannons when they announced the cities, but I think Philly fans certainly feel the same way. Uh, and that just makes for a fun game to watch for us, and I think maybe even more for the neutral fans of all the other teams all over the country, not just in lacrosse, but in every sport that has a Boston and a Philadelphia in it, or every league that has a Boston and Philadelphia in it.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we were lucky enough to be joined by one of the leaders of the Canine Crew, Philly supporter group, as we continue to bring on guests for every week. The Cannon's opponent, Ryan, who we met down in Philly during the
Mm.
championship. Sorry, not in Philly, in Springfield, Virginia. Man, I'm just mixing up every name today. Um, yeah, Philly fan, met in Springfield for the Champ Series. Um, Great dude. We had a great conversation with him. Um, hopefully, I don't think we'll be at the same game this year because he's not coming up to Boston. We're not going down to Philly, but um, can't wait to see him and the other supporter group leaders again, whether it's at a next championship series or PLL final or wherever that is. Um, there were a few little audio hiccups where his mic cut out for a few seconds, but we did our best to clean those up. Um, just wanted to let you all know in case you think your headphones died. Um, and I think with that, we will turn it over to Ryan and ourselves. All right, we are very excited to welcome a top dog, Ryan, from the Canine Crew, the Philly supporter group. Ryan, thank you very much for hopping on before this very exciting week 3 matchup.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I couldn't be more excited. I mean, coming to Philly, man, it's always an exciting time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I want to start off with not to recap the championship series game, but like, is there anything carried over from you, from Philly fans, you think from the team itself going into this game? Because that was a chippy game, a high stakes game, high intensity game. Do you think any of that is coming back in this week 3 matchup?
Yeah, I think so. I know that was a lot of buzz, like people were talking about, at least amongst my friends or like people who are fans of the team that we interact with, like right away, like champ series, and it's just like Philadelphia and Boston going head to head, like really deep rooted there in the sports world.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game was chippy. I mean, you guys remember we were right there cheering both our teams on. And I just still remember like McCardle got like I think it was like man of the tournament. I can't even remember the
Yeah.
award, and he was just like
Mhm.
didn't even want it. He was like, "Nah, we didn't win the championship." And I was like, "Man, like when they see this team again, it's just going to be a lot of fun." Um, Obviously, that's a little different, like sixes versus being outdoors. But I mean, like these guys compete, so I think it's going to carry over a lot. But it's just going to be a lot of energy, and it's just going to be good lacrosse all around. I think it'll be fun, and both teams have newer players too, based on like
Yeah.
the drafts and picking up free agency. So I'm excited to see like everyone's different roles and how they adjust to that too.
Yeah, I hadn't thought too much about the Water Dogs rookies because I was mostly just thinking about Stathakis and how he's not available right away. But Brando,
Yeah,
man, seeing Brando again is going to be like scary but
Oh,
fun. Fun against the
yeah,
Whipsnake, scary against the Cannons too. He was so good at Yale.
yeah.
yeah,
And
Uh,
he
it's fun
was.
watching him in college too, and like I just know like a lot of these guys were like COVID guys, so just
oh
seeing
yeah,
them play it like an extra year, or just seeing it like progress over that 1 year if they missed it or something. But he was someone who was just awesome.
yeah. He'll be really fun to see. And then who you got? Brower, right? Was your other?
Yeah, Brower, and then we had another pole late. I actually forget his name, but both the guys are huge. Um, I tried to keep up with it, but I don't know if Brower is playing yet or not.
Let me see. I will
Oh,
do a little live fact checking here. I'm sure someone who is even more cognizant
Because I
is
think on the roster, we didn't see his name, and I don't know if he was on the PUP
Marcus
or
Hudgens from Ohio State.
yeah,
Oh, and then
hmm,
Bame from Michigan as well.
yes,
that's
yes.
right.
And Bame didn't play week 1 either, did he?
I don't think so.
No. I mean, it's a tough
Hmm.
attack group to crack.
Yeah, I mean, if he did, I was just kind of like so focused on like we had so many weapons. I think we
Yeah,
had like 8 guys score, but like our attack unit's just like I love it. I mean, it was just cool to see.
yeah. I mean, Sowers, Walker, McCardle, and then
Yeah,
Brandau, Courier, obviously. Well, Courier had to do a lot of facing off. Uh,
yeah.
Hannah's still
Tough.
hurt, I think. Yeah, you got I mean, every attack group, every group in this league is stacked with only 8
That's
teams.
what I was gonna say too. Like, I mean, I really think like every attack in on every team is
Yeah,
stacked, like offense wise. But attack units are just like if you're an attackman and you're new, if you're an attackman trying to crack the starting lineup, like you got your work cut out for you. But these guys compete and they work really hard.
yeah.
So
I mean, we
all
got
it takes.
the last two Tewaaraton winners, attackmen, not playing attack. Like that's how
Yeah,
good. It's like O'Neal and Kavanaugh. That's
yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's funny,
Yeah.
man.
yeah,
It's just cool to see like those dudes are just like playing college, and then like next week they're like, "You're out, dude. You're ready to play. You're in the
yeah,
big, welcome to the big leagues." And they contribute so much already. So unique about lacrosse. Um, you could just make a like an impact right away.
yeah. As I think, well, I mean, obviously we saw that with Schellenberger. We didn't maybe see it as much with O'Neal and Kavanaugh because they had like one practice before they got there, but
Yeah,
we definitely saw Kavanaugh week 2. I think O'Neal obviously
And
saw O'Neal.
O'Neal week two. I mean,
Yeah,
it. I think that it was just such a whirlwind for those guys the first week. I mean, Pat Cav even said as much that the dude barely slept. Playing
yeah,
national championship on Monday,
right.
and I think he went. They stayed in Philly Monday night to party, went back to Notre Dame Tuesday, celebrated there, and then he had the Tuaraton Thursday. Like it's
Yeah,
just a crazy week. So I mean, yeah, it's like how is he gonna do anything? I was shocked that he even played on Saturday,
yeah,
that first week, but settle in more. And
yeah. We saw
yeah,
payoff
now
week 2.
we'll see.
Yeah,
But I wanted to ask you, Ryan, the Cannons and Water Dogs. last year were the two big teams that didn't really go with the traditional face-off or going with more of the prevent strategy. Ran that back week one. Obviously, you guys releasing Stathicus didn't even have a Fogo on your 25
Right.
man. We both, I think, had some issues with that in Albany, not really having it go to plan. Then we saw last week the Cannons dress Tucci and saw success with the faceoff. So, what do you think the matchup will be like this weekend? Do you think that either team will dress a Fogo? Do you think that like how do you think they're going to attack it? Like I know Stathicus isn't ready, but do you see you guys picking one up, or what do you think is going to
Yeah, I
happen?
mean, that was like the one thing during the draft. Like, I was like thinking, like, all right, man, are we gonna pick up
And we got a
from Duke? Like, are we getting a Fogo? Are we getting a guy? And then we didn't. And then we talked about like, are we gonna pick somebody up? Or and then week one we just kind of like went with it, and I was just kind of like, all right, like I don't know. And then I think just having that bye week and just like maybe them having to see like what other teams do as well. And, whether they pick somebody up or dress somebody or just throw somebody out there. Like I know Courier takes them too. It just still think, I mean, the just the rule change still gets me. Like I was an LSM, I took face off. So for me, I was like, oh man, like you're taking it apart. But like I know the PLR, they always adjust things for reasons and it kind of makes sense. So you can kind of see it with the game going forward. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like later in the week we might pick somebody up or we just adjust to like putting someone there and just kind of like maybe stopping the break. Like obviously possession is a huge part of the game, but now with like in the pros, like the shot clock, it's so quick. Like if someone has the ball and you stop them and you pretty much either chase a shot or get possession, I think you'd be okay. But I mean, I'm hoping when the Hawkins comes, like he'll just be a body. Like he had an incredible career at Denver, so
yeah.
I'm looking forward to him when he's dressed for the Dogs.
Yeah, I think he was someone that I expected the Cannons to draft a faceoff guy, and I think it was kind of between him or Naso once Weirman got picked up.
Yeah,
Obviously, like after Tucci's week two performance, I can't really be too mad. Um, well, Weirman still was incredible, but I think the Cannons would have had to really reach to take him.
yeah,
Certainly no complaints about Verdaro or Kavanaugh. Um, yeah, well, I'm excited. I think especially if you guys do or any of our listeners do PLL fantasy, I think Tucci's probably gonna have a great day. Uh,
yeah. My
because
buddy was like, he goes, dude, I don't think I'm going to put him on a fantasy team. I'm like, dude, it's
yeah,
fantasy. This is what it's for. So
yeah, because he's his cap was pretty low, so that's we haven't gotten into that on the podcast so far, but uh,
yeah,
any of our viewers who want to do that, I think he'd be a very good investment. So you could put some capital, get Sowers maybe as well, or another great attackman. Um,
yeah, really awesome.
yeah. All right, let's see. Maybe I will the other obviously the big thing, it's homecoming weekend for you guys. That's why you're on the pod here. Well, it's one of the reasons, and then you're also the Canada opponent. Um, After watching the first 2 weeks of homecoming, how do you feel about two games in a weekend?
Honestly, I think it's awesome just for like we've always talked about it, like the growth of the game and the PLL and just like that sense of like having a home city. Seeing it the first 2 weekends, like, up at Albany and just like prepping for it and watching all the vlogs, like how they decorated with the team's colors. It's new. It's this first time for every one of us and all our teams, but just to see it in Albany and like the premier zone, all the fans, like I think having the two games is great because unfortunately I can't make it, but let's say someone did get the tickets for both games. It's in your home city, so you're around, or you go for one game or the other. So it's like, okay, if I can't make one, I can make the other. But I just think that having the experience of being there, like seeing your team's colors, cheering for them, just kind of getting the buzz going for not only your team, but like the sport in general. Like it's still awesome that like, yes, like the Atlas were home, it was at Albany, but you still saw everybody sporting their team's colors and, people representing, lacrosse. And then it was really cool seeing the little blurb on the news for the Carolina Chaos.
Yeah.
Um, they were just talking like normally down here in Carolina, we're sporting, blue for the Panthers, but we have a new team. So just like that exposure for our sport is really cool. And it's just fun seeing like your buddies on TV like that you've met, like, you know, like I'm sure at homecoming weekend you
Oh
guys will be
yeah.
up there. Like it was cool. Like at the draft when I saw Jack, I was like, I told my boys, I'm like, dude, like that was one of the dudes I met. And he's just like, I'm like, and the best part is it's like that's just how you are and who you were. Like this dude's not faking it. Like that's just how he is as a fan. And I felt like that's how everybody was that when they were drafting. So, but the first 2 weeks, like it made me excited for our homecoming weekend. You know, sport and purple, like we're trying to get people to paint up. That seems to be like a
Yeah.
popular thing with our group. And just like, you know, Philadelphia in this area, like even for us too, like just being an actual city, like I'm from South Jersey. I like to go into Philadelphia a lot, but just to have it's like, okay, it's like part of that Philadelphia sports group and just kind of continue to grow the game is really important, I think. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited and you know, not only for my homecoming weekend for our team, but like everyone's moving forward and just like seeing how like this can really become a big thing.
Yeah. Um, I think you hit a good point, which is I think something that the PLL has maybe suffered from a little bit is, well, obviously the no home cities, but also that it's only in one place for a weekend. So it's like, you know, the Cannons are obviously the Boston team, but they were still, you know, they only had one game here last year. Whereas now, you know, it's still only two, but you know, maybe it's a slightly better chance of someone getting to see like their team. And I think uh, we're still probably a few years away from a regular home and away schedule, but it does make it, you know, slightly easier at least for someone to go like see their hometown team for the weekend. Obviously, we all hope you come to the watch parties for the other games, or
Right.
get down
Yeah.
to. I mean, if you're somehow able to get to Philly, we haven't made plans for that yet. Power to you, or to Fairfield, um, and then you know Gillette for the playoffs, whether the Cannons are there or not. But I think they will be, and yeah, yeah, it's just you know, more chances to get to see your team and hopefully start to really make those connections, um, that will make the full transition to a home and away a success. Because I really cannot wait till I get to go to what, 5 or 6 or 8, whatever it is, Cannons games a year.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's
Changing gears a
Exciting
little
stuff for
bit.
sure.
I just want to ask you, I think in between Champ Series and the start of the season, I think the biggest move that we saw that kind of caught everyone off guard was Copeland stepping down. And so
Yeah, yeah.
what was your reaction when he stepped down? And then part two is how do you feel about Bill Tierney?
Bill Tierney. Yeah, so that's a good question. Like it's funny, like ever since like I got like my story was just pretty much like when Paul Rabel was like expansion, expansion, like I would tell all my friends and everybody, I'm like, whatever the team is, I'm gonna be their number one fan. Like I don't care who the coach is, who the players are. Like I'm like I'll root for these guys. And to be completely honest, like when they named Andy Copeland the coach, I was like, I didn't know who he was. And then I was like, okay, like, but they wouldn't have hired someone if he wasn't a great coach. So then just kind of looking at his resume and his story, I'm just like, wow, this guy has like a good like track record and everything. You know, I was gonna get behind him no matter what. And you know, we in the beginning parts, like just I think it was like maybe around COVID or just even after that, like we messaged back and forth on Twitter. I'd always just check in, and he was always a nice guy. And then I got to meet him at the Champ Series, which is really cool. But yeah, right after that, like I mean, just you know, we brought us our first championship. You know, to make it to the Champ Series, I think he had a really good run. You know, I was definitely shocked, but like for me, it was just like the league changes so quick. Like our it's not like any other league, and you know sometimes you have to make a decision what's best for you. I don't know him personally, but I think from what I've heard, like he's a really like a really family oriented guy. So I think he maybe wanted to spend more time with his family, maybe explore other things. But I think it was shocking at first, but you know I wish him all the best. Like an awesome time and a transition for where we're going for like the home cities and everything. Um, so that was like tough, and then it was kind of like that in the air, like who was going to be the coach. Like then you're throwing like names out there of like these coaches, and then like Bill Tierney came up, and I just remember I was like I don't know man, like he was a Princeton guy, then he went to Denver, like And then he was named the coach, and I was just like, man, this guy's like the OG. We were all happy. Like right away, all my friends were like, this guy's Philly. He's a Philly guy. Like just like that mentality type thing. But just to have him there, I think is really exciting. And a lot of the players and younger guys who like watched him coach years ago, or just like having somebody else and like a fresh set of eyes to like call the X's and O's is always nice for a team. So, like I wish, and I know all our fans like wish Coach Copeland the best, but I know everyone's excited that Tierney's here too. So,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Copeland obviously sounds like a great guy. Tierney's not a bad consolation.
No.
I mean,
I don't,
the
no, yeah,
winningest coach in college history. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like I obviously not a Philly fan, so I can totally see a Philly fan being super bummed when Copeland came out just because of how much he meant to the Waterdogs. But
right.
I I'd be happy if Tierney just dropped in our lap too. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
I love you, Coach Holman, though. I don't want you to
Holman's
be
awesome, man. Like
replaced.
I
Yeah.
love honestly, like I've always loved all the coaches for each of the teams. They have
Yeah.
their own styles and uniqueness that just bring something special to the game in each team. But like,
Yeah.
when we were in the lobby and we met Coach Holman, and he was just talking to us,
Yeah.
like, and he was just real grateful and thankful that we were there and just fans of the game. And then
Mhm.
watching him when you guys had him on the pod, I'm like, dude, this is so surreal. Like,
I know,
and
right?
then for him to just be like, we want you guys to be recognized. Like, it means not only him, but like everyone feels that way about the fans. Like it's just something, it's awesome. But yeah, Holmes,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, we were so
Absolutely.
grateful to him, and I mean, the league is doing so much for all of our supporter groups itself, and then stuff with the players. Like I saw the Red Legion guys in Charlotte were down on the field, and they met Coach Towers as well. Um, yeah, it's such an incredible
Yeah,
league.
that's cool.
I don't know if I've said this to Jack or to you guys, but I thought before Holman came into the league, Copeland was the guy that I would want to play for the most. He just seemed like such a great leader. Obviously a great lacrosse mind too, but like just his personality seemed such a like he seems so good and comfortable. Like Stags scares me a little bit. I think he has real like angry dad energy when they're losing that I like, especially as a defense guy, I'm like, oh, I can't let up any more goals. He's gonna yell at me. But like Copeland is always so obviously he gets angry, like or passionate,
Yeah.
so like calm and steadying.
Hmm.
Um, and then of course that changed when Holman came into the league, and now he's my favorite. But yeah, but because there was a couple years there because it was the dogs and or he was started in 2020, and then the Cannons didn't get home until 2022, right?
Yeah.
Three.
I
Oh,
think
it
it's
was
two or
23.
It
three.
was
Yeah.
last year was our first year. We had
Oh,
Yes,
Cork.
sir. Yeah.
that's right. Sorry. Just trying to only remember the winning seasons.
Fair enough. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, those first couple of years in the PLL with Cork were not super fun.
yeah. Uh,
But diving more into the matchup itself, what's one thing about the Cannons that worries you the most this weekend?
I think it carried over a little bit from like Champ Series, like actually being that close on the field with you guys and like watching the game, and like just already seeing like Asher Nolte and like Holman and Matt Cav, like them playing the chemistry that they had,
Hmm.
the resilience. But like Nolte's just the body, man. Like he's always been that
yeah,
way. He's hard to defend. And then now you had like I'm watching the draft and I'm like, Cavs going to the Cannons. Pat Cavs going to the Cannons, and it's just going to ruin the Philly Boston thing. I'm just like, and then he went, and I love the Cavanaughs. I love Notre Dame, and I was just like, all right, well, I still love them, but yeah, that scares me, man. Like we said, the attack unit, like that attack unit, like scares me. There's so many different looks. Like they're so versatile. You could have guys run different ways, but Nolting's always been, I think, hard to defend, and he's just like a really good player, and I think he's leading the team in points already, right? Like,
I believe so.
Yeah,
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 um,
6 assists
yeah,
yeah,
on Saturday, 7 points overall. I mean, yeah, his vision is insane.
and
Just
that's what I mean. Like yeah, he's just so good. Like, and
yeah,
he's big. Like he's hard to defend.
yeah.
Like
right.
physically, but also like what is he gonna do? Like and it's just funny just watching him for years. I'm like, all these guys, but like he just really gets so much. He's gotten so much better too, and just seeing
Yeah.
him play, like I
I
think
think we
like
really saw him in prime form against the Whips last week, where like it was like, all right, well, if you're gonna slide to me, if you're gonna respect me as like a dodger and a scorer, I'll just pass it behind you and
right,
the other guy score. And we saw that like not the same play over and over, but it was like Nolting up around the crease, guy comes and he just passes it
I
behind the sliding defender, easy goal. And
Yeah, out of his 6 assists, I think 3 or 4 of them were him essentially just standing behind the net and throwing to a cutter
yeah,
on the
yeah.
crease. Like,
But it's like funny you're saying that you have to respect him on, like if you don't, he's
he'll
gonna
just
go. So
bully
he's
you.
220
yeah,
pounds.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna get bullied. Like that's the word. And I'm just like,
Yeah. I
it's hard to play against that and like playing towards that.
Yeah, and
yeah.
he can do, and especially the guys he's passing to, like especially Holman, Kavanaugh. I mean, both Kavanaughs don't need any like time or space to get one off. I mean, God, that 2-pointer Holman had was
Oh
insane.
my gosh,
But
ridiculous.
yeah, but all like
Mhm.
he wins the accuracy shooting in the All-Star game every year. He just like in and out in a the blink of an eye. I think
Yeah,
Campbell and Verdaro now can stretch the field. Drenner surprising range as well. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, seeing the Cannons offense hum like it did against the Whipsnakes was such a tonic to my system after week one. I mean, they also just had the ball more, and
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
if I was you, that's probably what I'd be worried about. Is like that offense having the ball 70% of the
yes,
time
yeah.
could cause some
And it's
problems.
like cool to see like week one, okay, like everyone's figuring out, and then like dude, week two, like I feel like the Cannons like figured it out, and I was like,
Yeah,
man. And coming off a bye, like you were saying before, like I don't know what that looks like yet. Like no one's really
Mhm.
had a bye, so like
yeah,
I mean, so like this is the first time we have a bye, and we're going into homecoming weekend. Like like okay, did you train? Like did you prep? Like I mean, I'm sure both teams will be ready, but like watching
Mhm.
that, you got to be like amped up to go against them, but also like all right, they kind of clicked a little bit, so we got to step it up. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, on the flip side, what is something that you think the Cannons should watch out for that the Dogs will do really well?
I think, I mean, it was just cool. Like week one for like when my friends and I were watching was just like seeing that like 8 different guys scored. So like
Mm.
Yeah.
obviously you already have like key guys who can score, but if you're having 8 people who can put it in the back of the net and not just like dunk, like they're just like straight up they could score, like that's like something you got to plan for. And like usually I'm used to like when I coached or when I played, it's like each team had 2 or 3 good guys. You face guarded the best guy, and the other two you kind of figured out. Like
Yeah,
if you have 8 guys, it's like, well, who's on the field? What are between the 6 that are on there? And if you adjust to that, it's like, okay, they figured it out now. Let's move you guys. So just I think just game planning. I think, and that was the other thing. Like we were on a bye, so like you didn't see us or you don't know what we were doing or like what we're
Right.
preparing or practicing for. So I think
Right.
like just having all those different weapons and preparing for that, but also like I don't know what it's like to play a team off the bye in this league yet. Like maybe that bye helps teams. Like
yeah.
so we're not sure.
Yeah. I think for me, what scares me the most, obviously it's Zach Courier because he can do everything. But those short stick D mids you guys have, Scarpello and Witcher, are so
Oh
good at leading transition. Where I
yeah,
mean, Witcher and Scarpello killed it in sixes, and they killed it in week one too. I mean that we didn't address the score of the game, but such a like that comeback that you guys almost made to score the last 7 goals in a row and hold the Archers off the board for like 20 minutes. Um, it probably says something about the Archers too, but like the Dogs battled for sure,
yeah,
and they're like
Yeah,
they're gonna battle.
isn't that 2 weeks in a row now that the Archers have essentially blown a massive lead?
Yeah, because they were up seven
yeah,
in
They're
the
up 7 to the Outlaws.
to the Outlaws, and they were up 8 and almost blew it to the Dogs. Yeah,
yeah.
so
Week one.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know when we play Utah, but we'll see if that trend continues. It's maybe a little sign to be worried over there in the Salt Lake
Yeah,
City.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think
But
like yeah, to your point too. Like yeah, like and that was one thing. Like I always liked our defense And then like, but yeah, our short stick D minis, like I totally like didn't even like just going back to like that Sixes in the champ series, like they killed it, like just pushing the ball.
Yeah,
And then it's fun, like and it's like nice too. Like I know Scarpell is from around the area, Sowers is from Philly, like around the area. So like I think that's cool for
yeah,
those guys too, because I'm sure they have family and friends coming out to watch them.
definitely.
Yeah, man, when you have short stick defensive middies, you can push transition. I mean, that's huge for the game.
Yeah, Witcher I
Yeah.
feel like gets 3 or 4 like huge juice goals every season. That he had one, yeah, he had one week 1 for sure to like as part of that comeback. He definitely had some in sixes. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean, I can't think back to specific ones. I just like every time he scores, it's huge. And then oh my
Mhm.
God, we haven't talked about Connor Kelly yet, who, I mean, he's had some incredible games. He's like 3 or 4 twos in a game. He had one run where he scored like the last 5 goals in a game. Like he is so good. The whips, man, I bet they wish they had a midfielder like him about now.
yeah,
Which for any viewers who weren't watching, they did have him year 1 or 2 in the BLL.
yeah. I know. Yeah,
Yeah, they had him year 1, and then he was the first pick by the Waterdogs. So
yeah. I
uh,
remember.
oh well. I said this when we faced the whips. I feel like the whips, like I can never name any of their midfielders. I'm like it's Rambo and Zed, and that's it.
Yeah,
Uh,
Mhm.
and the dogs, it's definitely not that because I'm like, yep, Connor Kelly, the short sticks as well. We just mentioned Courier, Hannah when he's healthy.
yeah. I
Mhm.
just
That's
want him to be healthy.
yeah,
I mean, I hope he heals up and he heals correctly. But dude, when he's healthy, I'm like, I love Hannah, man. I
yeah,
hate seeing the injury report. I'm like, not again. Like, I hope you're all right, man. Like, I know you want to be out there playing. Like, I want you out there. I feel like everybody does, man. He's such a good player.
yeah. He broke his foot, right?
I
I
think
think
so. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's certainly a couple months off, but
yeah.
yeah. Hopefully we get to see him at the tail end of this year.
Right.
Yeah,
That'd be
so that's
awesome.
incredible.
So,
Um, all right. I think we covered a lot of it. I guess maybe we'll just talk about some. Well, actually, I did want to ask one thing about homecoming weekend. Is I'm a little bit worried that that second game is almost like an automatic loss. I mean, we saw the Chaos lose week 2 to the Atlas. They have been blowing up everybody, and then the Atlas. I mean, they got up to a 10-1 lead against the Whip Snakes, and they almost lost. It was a 2-goal game in the fourth quarter. So, are you at all concerned? Now, unfortunately, you are playing the Whip Snakes, who I'd say maybe have looked like the worst team in the PLL through 2 weeks. But are you at all worried about that second game?
Yeah, we were like we talked about that too, just because like you said, just having the two games for the homecoming purpose. I think it's just an adjustment for the guys and like how you're playing. Like, I mean, obviously, most of us play club or even fans. Like, you're currently playing club. Like, you're playing every weekend, 3, 4 games, but they're short. And like, these guys are going all out for the first game.
Yeah.
Like they really leave it all out there, and then just knowing like, okay, I got a game the next day. Like it does take a toll, and it is a lot. Um,
mhm.
I don't know if I would say like I don't know if I would say worried. Um, it's just different to see. Like I know what you're saying from the other past weeks. Like that second game just seems like you're saying like an automatic loss is like it's always like, oh, they played yesterday, or oh, he may look a little tired, he may look this way, but um, I don't know. I think they try their best to try to push the games out so they have time to rest and everything. But I mean, dude, even after playing a game like those guys do, like back to backs, like that's probably tough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think
still exciting. But
the one thing you guys got going for you is that you are coming off the bye, so you have a little bit more rest
and
heading
that's what I was thinking.
into,
But who knows?
yeah, who knows? But I don't know, definitely be interesting to see. But
Yeah.
And again,
we
it's like
do,
only week 3, just seeing it through, like how the homecoming. I mean, maybe they revisit it. Who knows? But I just think it's awesome that you have 2 games for your hometown team. But like,
definitely.
I don't know if there's a trend. If it's just like every time that second game comes around, it's like a loss. It's like, all right, is it worth it? Do we not have buys? Do we do something else for the home team? Who knows? But
Yeah.
I just still
Yeah.
think it's awesome having both.
Hopefully this is all a moot point. Like hopefully the
Yeah,
team in their second game goes at least 500 and this isn't a conversation topic at all. It's just something I'd pick and 2 weeks is not really enough of a pattern. We'll see after
sure. Yeah, no, definitely.
it's
We'll
Philly
see.
and
We'll
then
see
I
this
mean,
finish
I mean, who
weekend.
second.
knows too? Like, I don't know, man. It could get chippy first game. You might
Yeah.
not have some guys going in the second game. I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's what you got to watch out for. Like, do you like
Yeah, you
it's?
think there's going to be a punch thrown this weekend?
I don't know, man. We were thinking about it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I can't. I remember it was getting chippy. I can't remember who it was. All I remember was Holman was getting into it with someone on the dogs.
Randall, I think.
I think it was Randall
Hmm.
because when we were in the champ series, I was watching Holman and they were just both like cross checking each other. I'm like, man, this is getting like,
Oh no, that wouldn't have been Randall. But no, Randall
well,
he didn't make, but Asher too was really going back and forth.
yeah. Them two
Yeah,
I
is
think
yeah,
like,
he's
yeah.
on the Atlas now, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I think he got
because he moves around. But
yeah.
I can't remember who it was. I mean, I'm not saying like it was Nolting or Holman, but I just remember it was getting chippy during our
Oh yeah, they
game.
were all
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And I was just like,
Boston, Philly,
oh,
baby.
because Sowers got hit, you
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah,
And that's
and
what
then
started it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then Aslanian, who did he
Knocked
hit?
over Jack Trainer.
Trainer
Yeah.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
no
Honestly,
Taylor?
I think no, it was Trainer, but it's Trainer with a Y.
Oh,
Tray.
Yeah. But I
Um,
do remember. I mean, obviously he's okay, but like I do remember that hit. And we were all like, "Oh
yeah.
man, this is gonna be
we're
it,
like,
bro."
oh
Yeah.
shit.
And then
Yeah,
yeah, Fairman also took a couple of very big hacks against I think it was McCardle. And
yeah,
that seemed to kind of spur the dogs on. I think they were like, well, all right, we're not getting pushed around here. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that was a I don't think we'll see it be as physical as that because it is just week 3. Uh,
yes,
but I'm sure the dogs will want to assert themselves after losing their
yeah,
last matchup. And the Cannons will want
yeah,
to assert themselves as well because their last, field lacrosse, like 10 on 10, did not
sure.
mhm,
put the Cannons away, to put it mildly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, clock ticking down, so we want to maybe wrap it up, get a little score prediction, and get out of here.
Yeah, no, for that score prediction, huh?
Yeah.
I think it might be high. I mean, both are
Yeah.
like just a straight shootout the whole time. Um, Final score.
I'm gonna say 15-11 Cannons because I think it will be a shootout, and I just think the Cannons are gonna have the ball more because of Tucci.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say 15-13 Cannons. Though I
Damn.
want the dogs to win, I think just being a
Oh,
fan and being
whoa,
honest,
wow.
I'm
First
just being honest. Third, yeah, I'm
the
just.
first one to not pick their team.
Hey, I
Damn.
know. Look, people may hate me. Fans may be like, "This guy's crazy." You're
Yeah,
not
all
a
right.
true
Not
fan.
for you're not even going. Now you're picking the Cannons. Are you
Oh,
really a
Philly
Philly guy,
fans, throw
Ryan?
batteries at this guy in the comments.
I know. I know I'm the worst. Like my friends are at. I'm like, listen, like I love them, man. I want them to win, but I said 15-13 Cannons. It's gonna be a game though.
It's
It's gonna
gonna
It's
be
be
a
a
gonna be a
game.
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 We know that.
Yeah.
It is. You know, and it's funny you say that because I was exactly thinking the same thing. I was about to say 15-13 Cannons. So I think we're just on the same wavelength here,
All
right?
right, well, let's lock it in. Cannons are getting 15 for sure. Hopefully the Water Dogs get less than that.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming on, Ryan.
All
We'll
right.
I guess we'll check
Awesome.
in with you in a couple of weeks when the Cannons and Dogs meet again in Boston.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll
sounds
be
good, guys.
great.
It's great seeing you guys. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All
I'll
Yeah,
right.
talk to you.
See ya.
great seeing you. And thanks again to Ryan for hopping on. Looked a little bit weird without the paint, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah, it was like, whoa, like who is this man?
Yeah, very used to seeing him with his face painted white and purple. Uh Yeah, I'm sure if you've seen PLO promo material, especially for the Water Dogs, you have definitely seen him. He was for sure at the Champ Series final in that getup. I think we'll have to come up with something in the next couple of weeks before homecoming so we can rival that, whether that's similar paint or maybe like a civil Revolutionary War soldier. We'll see. We'll figure something out. But
trifold hat.
yeah, the trifold hat is
Catch me,
tricone
catch
hat.
me looking like Paul Revere, dude.
Yeah, I'm riding a horse to the game
I'm
actually.
Paul. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sam Adams
yeah.
pulled up my beer.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
they
that
better
was
be
really,
on.
yeah. Let's just ride in on the horse. I love that.
Yeah.
The cannons are coming. The cannons are coming.
Oh, all right. Yeah, we're saving that. We're people listening to this, pretend you didn't hear that, so you can be surprised when we drop that on social media in a couple of weeks.
You heard
Yeah.
it here
All right.
first.
Ryan, we'll discuss that, or not, you're not Ryan, you're Jack. Jack, we'll discuss that further once we finish recording here.
Cool.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, thank you again to Ryan. Bit shocked to see him not pick the dogs to win. Um, not like,
He's just a smart man.
yeah,
He
I
just
agree.
knows what's up.
Yeah, I did think of him as more of a homer than that. But I admire and appreciate that. I think the Cannons offense did look really good. Their defense looked really good. Um, I do hope they hold the dogs to a little fewer than 13 or whatever he said. Um, but a win's a win no matter how you get it. So
Exactly.
yeah, hopefully we see the Cannons grab that other W and officially get above 500 for the year, and then stay there for the rest of the year. It's an important part of that. For anyone in the Boston area, we will be having our typical watch party at West End Johnny's. The doors will open for us at noon. The game is at 12:30 again on ABC. So if you're not in the Boston area, you can definitely still watch this on mainline cable. And if you're somewhere else at a bar or a restaurant or wherever, ask them to put it on because the more people who see lacrosse, the more people who grow to love it. So whether you're watching it with us or whether you're watching it with family, roommate, whoever, just enjoy this game because I think it's going to be one of the best of the year, regardless of what team you're a fan of.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So I think with that, we will sign off. We will hope to see you all on Saturday, in person, online, wherever. But wherever you are, go Cannons.
Boom.
Boom.